You ready?
Morning. Welcome to Virginia City. My name is Marshal Dan Johnson. This is my deputy Steve. You folks are just in time. I'm fixing to make my rounds. Why don't you tag along with me and I'll show you what Virginia City looks like today and tell you what she was doing in yesteryears. Steve, watch the office.
You got it, pal.
Come along, folks. Here's something you might find interesting. Come on in here. Folks, this is the old-time photo shop where you can come in and have your picture taken in the costumes that they wore back in them days. This is the Washoe Club, built in 1875. Come on in, I want to introduce you to the folks that own the place. This is Bill and Sandy Chance, the owners of the place. Sandy, can you tell us a little something about the club?
Okay, this historic club was started in the early 1800s, 1870s. There was at that time, there was over 100 and some millionaires that belonged to it. They had their card rooms and their game rooms and their girls of the night upstairs. They had their ballroom. The spiral staircase was built and it's featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not with no supporting poles. It is quite a great asset of the club.
This is the staircase at the Washoe Club, which is on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Here we are, folks, at the Ponderosa Saloon, featuring underground mine tours. I think you folks are going to like this. Follow me. Folks, this is Hard Rock Tom. Tom, why don't you tell them a little something about the mine?
Most certainly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the Ponderosa Saloon in Virginia City, Nevada. We are standing in a drift portal. We're going back to the main shaft of the Best End of Belcher mine. This is a drift, nearly horizontal, 317 feet back to the main shaft. The main shaft goes down 2,600 feet, but we're not going down that one. We give folks an awful lot of history on the Comstock Lode and show you how the old-time miner did it. And let's go underground and let me show you just a bit about how the old-time miner did it. Now, if a mine working goes straight down, or down at any given angle, it's called a winze. Now here we have what's a 45-degree angle, incline winze. It goes down 200 feet. Now the ore bucket in the winze has two steel rods on the rear of the bucket. They ride up and down on these incline rails. The idea being, the ore bucket could be raised to this level where the two rods on the rear of the bucket would fall into these notches on the inclines. He could then lock that ore bucket in place, slack off or loosen that hoisting line. The ore bucket would spill its contents into this ore car for removal to the hoisting station, of course for surfacing. And we have a great deal of mine workings here in the Ponderosa. Here in Virginia City, come and see us. We have a great deal to show you.
We're now at the castle in Virginia City. It was one of the finest mansions of the West when it was built in 1868 by Robert N. Graves, a mining superintendent of the Empire Mine. The immense prosperity of the mine towns of that time were apparent, and the castle's rich, elaborate furnishings imported from all over the world. This is a must to see, folks. I want to introduce you to Samuel Clemens. You probably know him better as Mr. Mark Twain.
Well, thank you, Marshal. Where were you the night I needed you up here in '66 when I was robbed? Still looking for that wallet. This divide was always black and murky and scary. I had been lecturing at Gold Hill and was walking back to Virginia City when they jumped on us, 2 of us. And away we went, into the dark without our wallets, without our pants. Embarrassing. But that wasn't the worst thing that happened to me in Virginia City, no. I had 21 months of good writing at the Territorial Enterprise. There goes the Carson and Hoog stage. Now, an uncomfortable ride from Carson. 21 months at the Territorial Enterprise were good months. I took my pen name there. But there was a fellow named Laird that worked for the competition, the Daily Union. Well, he slandered my good name in his paper, and so I slandered him back in the Enterprise, and we went back and forth a few days, all in good fun and humor, until it got bitter. There goes the Overland stage now. Well, I had the only course, which was, as a man, to call him a coward and challenge him to a duel. So we were to meet out on Geiger Grade at 7 a.m. But I didn't know how to fire a firearm. Oh, I wore one when I came to town, but that was only so as not to be conspicuous. Well, Steve Gillis knew how to shoot, so Steve took me out a half hour early, and we practiced. Well, Steve was such a good shot that he took the head off a game hen, just as Laird came riding up. And Gillis was quick enough to hand me that smoking sidearm and say, just loud enough for Laird to overhear, "Nice shot, Sam. Don't kill him. Just shoot his nasty face off." Well, Laird did twice around on his horse and was up. But I was not far behind, you see, because Marshal Dan here issued a warrant for my arrest for dueling. So I went off to San Francisco to be unemployed. The coldest winter I ever spent in my life was a summer in San Francisco. But you really should come spend a day, maybe a couple of days in Virginia City. It's still the liveliest town in the West.
Marshal, Deputy, we got a couple of arrests to make on the bus.
Well, let's do it.
Excuse me, folks. I'm gonna have to take a little time out from this tour. Got some business to take care of. Don't be talking, man, when I'm trying to talk. We're gonna be having a few extra seats here on the bus. I seem to be looking for a honeymoon couple. That wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
I seen you walking earlier. You couldn't be the honeymoon. I remember my honeymoon. I wasn't walking.
You know, they were caught skinny dipping up in Lake Tahoe.
No.
That's the reason why they're being arrested.
Uh-oh, pal.
That's right, well, there's two extra seats.
It made the newspaper. It also made the Virginia City newspaper.
Star and Bonanza.
We've got a couple on here that say they've been married for 50 years.
Probably these 2 guys right here.
Yeah. Oh, you folks aren't from the Bay Area.
Right here.
And I can still walk.
And you can still walk?
You've been married for 50 years?
How about if we fix that? Okay.
Oh, I see.
You also made the Virginia City newspaper.
50 years of bills and bliss?
She makes all the bills, right?
No, I get the bill, she gets the bliss.
I hear that.
Okay then.
And don't you be laughing at me either.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you all have a good day and a good, safe trip on this tour.
How about another 50?
50
If you make it another 50, you're doing better than me.
If you're still able to walk. Let's see you folks.
Thank you.
Ma'am, don't shoot that camera.
Folks, we're at the world famous suicide table. On this gaming table here, many men have shot themselves winning fortunes and then losing fortunes. And when they lost the fortunes, they died on this table. Here you go. 1875, that's what Virginia City looked like. That was the Con Virginia hoisting works. That's where they processed the gold and the silver. 1875, believe it or not, you could get your hair cut for 6 bits. The store was a local hangout for gossip and news of the day. Main transportation of the day hauled all the gold and silver out of Virginia City. Let's go and have a look at it and see what it looks like today. This is engine 29 of the Virginia City Truckee Railroad. Let's jump on board and take a ride back into the past. Before we go into the tunnel, I will have to ask you, please do not extend your arms, legs, cameras. We're going to go up to another stop here in just a moment. We're going to disconnect the locomotive and then I'm going to let you go. That's it, I quit. I just want to... 40,000 people lived here at one time. Cabins, campfires, as far as you could see. The gold and silver that was taken out of the Comstock brought people here from all over the world to seek their fame and fortune. Most of them died broke. A few of them did manage to take quite a bit of gold and silver out of the Comstock. As a matter of fact, the gold and silver that was taken out of the Comstock is what built San Francisco, what won the Civil War for the North. This is and remains the richest spot ever discovered on Earth. This is a Fourth Ward schoolhouse built in 1878. It's a museum today, but it still houses many of the artifacts of that era. Let's take a look inside. This is what the classrooms looked like back then. And if you were bad in class, you got to wear something like this. The schoolhouse is more than a schoolhouse. It's a mini museum with many pictures depicting the lifestyles of that era. St. Mary's in the Mountains was built in 1868, burnt in the big fire of 1875. The fire was started by a drunken miner trying to light a cigar over a kerosene lantern. Tipped it over, caught his house on fire, and burnt down 90% of the town. St. Mary's was burnt down in that big fire, was rebuilt in 1876. When you folks are here in Virginia City, you will want to see the inside of this church. is a Comstock rock shop with specimens from all over the world. We're going to give you a quick look inside. Here in Virginia City, there are many shops. There's something here for everyone, so I'm sure you'll want to take the time to look into these shops. This here is Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. For you folks that have a sweet tooth, you can just step right in here and buy all the candy you need. This is Grant's General Store and Museum. They sell souvenirs, t-shirts, all sorts of things in here. If you folks want to see the museum, let's step to the back. Folks, this is a free museum, and this is basically what the stores look like back in the 1870s. Some of the gambling devices they had here, some of the china that they used, their silverware, their clothes that they wore back in those days. This is the Way It Was Museum at the south end of town. Let's take a look inside here. The museum displays a lot of mining equipment used in that era. This is called a long tom. It would sit down in the creek or riverbed, wherever you happen to be. You would take your shovel, put your sand, your gravel into this, and the water would come rushing out through here. You would shake it like this, and your gold, being heaviest of all metals, would get trapped down in these little ridges. Your sand and gravel would wash out, and your gold would be left in here. This is a powder car. Notice the heavy construction and the use of springs to withstand dangerous jolts and shocks. Plan on spending some time here in the Way It Was Museum. Oh, and don't forget your camera, because there's plenty to see here. Here we are at the world-famous camel races held in Virginia City every year in September. While we're waiting for the camel races to begin, why don't we run up to C Street and take a look at the parade?
great time today at the camel races in Virginia City, huh, Ian? Pretty good time? Ready to go watch those old camels?
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite? The little one, the half?
Here we are at the camel races. Camels were first brought to the U.S. by the U.S. Army. They used them to haul salt and silver to the mines around here. In the mid-50s, there was an article written up in the Territorial Enterprise saying there was going to be a camel race. The next day, they had the winners, the losers, but there was never a camel race ran. So in 1960, Sacramento talked the director, John Houston, into coming up to Virginia City and riding a camel in a race. And it's been going on since then. It's been going on now for 30 years. hope you folks enjoyed your visit to Virginia City. And I hope to see you again here real soon. Don't we, sweetheart? Give me a little kiss.
Man, Water, I told you not to come back to this town.
Hey, I come back to get the gold. I've got the gold. Now I'm going to get your bad to add to my collection.
I don't think so, buddy. Well, Water, I don't think so.
Push him over the edge.
Yeah, can I get some help to throw him over the side here? Wait a minute, he left some gold though. I'll be taking that. I'll be taking your gold. Hey, Marshall's gone bad now. Take your gold? No. Don't you take the ladies?
Oh, we...
I'll be taking this blonde here and this one. This one. How? Oh, wait a minute. How I messed up here.
She's long gone.
It's safe to come back to Virginia City. Got rid of all the bad men in this town.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Steve Rutherford with the era.